Good evening, people of Portsmouth, and welcome to the Environment and Community Safety meeting. First item on the agenda, apologies for absence. Any received? Okay. Thanks for coming in today, Dave. And on to item number 2, any declarations of members' interests?
No.
Okay, so item number 3 on this agenda is our glass processing contract. So, Colette, if you could just introduce the report, please, for the benefit of both myself and Dave, and also for the good people of Portsmouth.
The report I'm going to introduce today is to get agreement to continue the glass processing contract partnership with our project Integra partners. There's currently a Project Integra contract which is held by Veolia for the processing of glass collected from Bring Banks and Household Waste and Recycling Centre in the city. The function of that is to manage and market the glass once it's been collected. We let the contract in 2010, 11, and it was novated to Hampshire County Council, who manage it on behalf of all the Project Integra partners. And at the heart of that, we've got a partnering agreement between us all, which underpins the current relationship between Hampshire as a contract manager and the partners as users of the service. The contract is due to end in July, and so we need to procure a new contract. We did consider whether or not we could incorporate the glass contract into the waste disposal contract, but there's a small risk of challenge, and it wasn't considered that the benefits sufficiently outweighed the risks. So it was agreed that a new contract would be procured. Hampshire are leading on this, and they will award the contract on behalf of all partners if we're to agree to go in with them. And we have to pay a small fee, which is as part of the procurement cost, our share. The glass collected currently across Hampshire is of good quality, has little contamination, and has been accepted to market without rejection. And so it's likely that a procurement exercise would attract interest from the industry, but we would need a partnering agreement to be signed between all the partners, as we have now. The reason for recommending this is it's a continuation of an existing partnering arrangement that falls under the umbrella of PI. Hampshire have managed this contract with the existing contractor, and they've managed to deliver improvements by working with the contractor to sales income by adopting an auction method which they adopted last year. It will allow us to benefit from things like economies of scale and allow us to deliver the maximum levels of income that we can for this material. It ensures that the glass will be handled in a way that preserves its quality and value to ensure we get maximum value from it when we sell it on, and also gives us assurance that we've got a reliable service and that there are limited operational issues. So our share of the procurement would be about £1,500. We've completed a preliminary equality impact assessment. A full one's not required, as there'll be no detriment to any of the groups. It's worth pointing out this isn't about how we collect it, this is about the processing once it's been collected. Legal services have reviewed the proposed partnering agreement, and since I wrote this report, they've also confirmed that they're happy with the final draft of that agreement. So that's that. And so therefore I would recommend that you approve that we continue to partner PI partners to procure and sign up to a new glass processing contract.
Thank you, Colette. Dave, any questions or comments? Sorry, I should refer to you as Councillor Ashmore now that people are watching us.
That's okay, Rob. I was going to say, I've noticed a fluctuation on the income over the years there. Seems to dip and then go back up again, but it seems to be a lot better now. Is that because of the auction method that you say HCC have managed? Is that partly to do with it, or is there other known reasons?
Well, thank you. There are The difference between 14, 15 and 15, 16 is that prices dropped between those 2 years, and it was during 15, 16 that they experimented with a number of different ways of getting rid of the glass, but the auction method did provide us with an increase in the amount we were getting per tonnage at the time. It's been quite steady for some time. It's unlikely to go up much higher, we don't believe. There is a chance it could be lower. Because it's all dependent on world commodity markets. So yes, the fluctuations are related to that, but the improvement from 15, 16 to 16, 17, I would attribute to a sort of stability that we achieved through the auction process.
Is it all right, Tom? Bob?
Of course.
This is a theoretical, but would there be anything in the contract? You say it's just for, managing it, not collecting it. Because a lot of people are saying to me, particularly in my area where we've had the trials of the bags to try and increase recycling, they're saying to me they agree with the principle of recycling more, they want to recycle more. Perhaps there could be a way of implementing a way of adding glass to recycling, etc. in the future. Is there anything in the contract that would preclude that or hinder it or something, or is that an unrelated issue?
It's a good question. Obviously, at the moment in Portsmouth, you can take your glass to bring banks that are dotted around the city or to the HWRC, and we don't do a curbside collection. Curbside collection, the main impact would be on collection costs because we'd have to add in collection rounds. There is some work being done to look at what materials we can collect from the curbside in our recycling offer, if you like. Our current infrastructure is built to accept the items that we accept, and we wouldn't be able to put glass into that stream at the moment, but there is some work ongoing with our Hampshire colleagues to investigate how we could expand the range of materials, and that could include glass. It's all a work in progress at the moment, but we've got no plans currently to add collection rounds in for glass, but it could be that we could in the future it may be part of the targeted materials. That wouldn't necessarily impact this because it would still need to be separated and marketed, and that's what this is all about.
Thank you.
Good evening, Councillor Morgan. Thanks for joining us. No, that's okay. Any declarations of interest?
None.
Okay. So Colette's just done the report, Stephen, on this going forward, and to be fair, it's fairly straightforward. It's pretty much a renewal of something that we already did, and we've been weighing up the pros and cons of moving forward, and we've just been looking at some of the variables around it because it's a volatile market. And so if you'd like to ask any questions or have any comments around it, please feel free. No, you're happy with that? Okay, just a few other points to make. I think you raised some really good points there, Councillor Ashmore. I think moving forward, we need to be looking at the maximum amount of things that we can recycle, but with a pragmatic view as well, in terms of compromising on what's affordable to be able to do versus, also what's practical. Because in some of the initial studies, looking at other councils, for example, with curbside collections, there are additional costs. It's not just a collection, it's also things like what happens if lots of glass is smashed, there's clear away things. So it's all of those sorts of things to balance up, isn't it, Colette? However, I think it's absolutely right. And also just to give the PM a plug as well today with the strategy that's come out around plastics, really welcome news as well, especially off the back of the notice of motion that you guys, that we put into the council. And I think that we should take comfort as a city that we are, I suppose, proactively looking at protecting the environment, but actually where we can to do more within the realms of, I suppose, what we can afford to do as well. But one thing that's for sure, which is great, it's a shared cross-party ambition, is that where we can, we absolutely must do more in terms of recycling. So yeah, I'm wholly in support of this, and thank you so much, and to you, Colette, and your team for all of the work that you've been doing around this under huge, great pressures, and I really do appreciate that. So with that in mind, so that it doesn't draw this meeting out any longer than it needs to be, I'm more than happy with all of the recommendations in here, and so we'll approve that. Thank you. That's this meeting drawn to a close, and we'll now move to our briefing.